Hey, problems that start with your child's nervous system at birth just don't stay the same. Hey, I am Dr. Randy Wirtz in Thrive Chiropractic, a pediatric chiropractor dedicated to seeing you and your children be as healthy as possible. So let me give you a good analogy that will really help explain this. You've used a breaker box before, the circuit breaker box in your house. And what happens when the switch number 8 that goes to the TV in the living room, that turns off? Well, the TV, the lights don't work. But if you're going to plug a kitchen appliance into that same outlet as a TV, it still wouldn't work. If you're going to plug the computer into that outlet as well, it still doesn't work. So the problem stays the same, it's just the applications are different and the symptoms will start to change once your child becomes a toddler as well. Now some of this you start chalking up as normal toddler behavior, but in your heart you know when you start looking at other children, hey, my child's just melting down and they're lasting for 30 minutes. Something's not right, which often happens. A baby that has colic will tend to have more meltdowns and be a lot more emotional as a child because their brain is not developing correctly because of the nerve interference between the brain and the body. And that nerve interference is what we call a subluxation. Now, subluxations are misalignments in the spine, or they're fixations in the spine, they're not moving correctly, that have an aberrant effect on the nervous system and how your child develops. So even a child that has a hard time falling asleep as a toddler or a baby will have a hard time falling asleep and staying asleep as a toddler. You start to notice speech delays at this point, especially around 18 months. The child should be putting 1 or 2 words together, and at 22 years they should be combining words. And if they're not doing that by 50 words, something's not quite right with their vocabulary. They're not developing correctly. I mean, I'm having signs of neurodivergency where they're not making eye contact, they're not engaging with you or other children and playing side beside each other. That's a sign that's saying, hey, something's not correctly, something's not developing right, and that's having an effect. Even movement patterns, whether that be like uncoordination. So movement feeds the brain, and it's up for that movement. Those subluxations can affect coordination and how the brain perceives the body. And so certain movement patterns are necessary, like crawling, rolling, and if the child's not doing that, well, the brain's not going to develop correctly. And it's not only feeding the brain, but it's also not feeding the body to work correctly as well. I hope this makes sense to you, but you might also think, that's my child's story right there. Oh my gosh, like that sounds exactly like my child. We can course correct. That's the good news. The good news is it doesn't have to be that go into adolescence or children or go into the teen years, which problems left alone with the nervous system will change and adapt, but they also show problems later on in life as well. Let's stop that now for you too. Give us a call. I'd be happy to talk to you personally. A 10-minute chat can go a long way to say, hey, is this the right fit for you? Until then, God bless. Have a great day.